What's up, YouTube? My name is Ty, financial professional. Welcome to my channel. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is BBBY, Bed Bath & Beyond. This finishes at $7.04 today. That is down 18.42%.
And it's gone.
So we've been covering this stock for about 2 months now, ever since this first squeezed. This went all the way from the low of $4.40 to the high of $30, which was over a 580% upside gain. So epic short squeeze here, but this was obviously not going to end well, as with every short squeeze. So it squeezed to $30, and then Ryan Cohen took a giant dump on the apes, dumped his entire stake, pulled back down to the $8 range, and then the company got a $400 million loan. There were fears of bankruptcy, so that loan calmed those fears down, for the moment at least. So that was bullish. This ran back to the upside a little bit, but ultimately it was a dead cat bounce, because last week we had the strategic update where the company announced layoffs, store closures, a share offering, and an executive team shakeup. So a lot of the apes thought that the strategic update was going to be bullish, but it was very bearish. So big sell-off there, and over the weekend we had some pretty sad news. Let's check that out. So the news was that the CFO, Gustavo Arnold, deleted himself. So apparently him and Ryan Cohen are getting investigated for doing a pump and dump on this stock. So rest in peace to him. Very sad. Obviously, it must have been really stressful for him, but definitely not worth taking your own life over. You know, if it just played out, it probably would have went like this. They probably would have did a 1 to 2 year investigation. He gets found guilty of some minor charges, slap on the wrist, and life goes on. And if anything, he could have asked his boy Ryan Cohen to bail him out. So there was really no need to take his own life. This is really sad. So not sure how much of an effect it had on the stock today, but certainly had somewhat of an effect. So bearish news there, and just the overall market's not doing too well today. And that's probably why the stock sold off so much. This was number 4 on StockTwits today. Had over 3,300 mentions, so once again, we're going to analyze it. All right, let's jump right in. Let's go ahead and analyze here. So first of all, this is a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being the low of 440. And there can be multiple possible tops. It can be 1530, 2090, or $30. And longer term, this is part of an even bigger cup and handle where this has the potential to go all the way back up to 5390. Although I do believe the most realistic tops would be 1530 or 2090. But those are all bullish indicators. That is telling us that the stock should come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. The RSI, the relative strength index, is currently at 42. So not quite oversold and undervalued, but below average. So according to the RSI, the current price of 704 should be a little bit higher. So slightly bullish indicator there. And then we have a quadruple gap down. It's kind of hard to see here, but the first gap down was created today at 815. So that's a bullish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should come back up to 815 to fill this gap. Second gap down was back at 1150. So another bullish indicator. That is telling us that the stock should come back up to 1150 to fill this gap. Third gap down was back at 1615. So another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to 1615 to fill this gap. And the final gap down was back at 2250. So another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to 2250 to fill this gap. And now for the bearish stuff, we also had a gap up back at 650. So that's a bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back down to 650 to fill this gap. Here we had an ascending channel where the upper channel was around $19 and the lower channel was around $14. So if this broke 19 to the upside, that would be bullish. And if this broke 14 to the downside, that would be bearish. This did in fact break 14 to the downside. So the ascending channel is a bearish indicator. We had this bull flag developing. So that was a bullish indicator. Unfortunately, the bull flag got rejected. So it's now a bearish indicator. And here we did have a head and shoulders. Back here was the first shoulder. The head was at the top of $30 and back here was the second shoulder. So that was a bearish indicator that was suggesting that the stock was due for a sell-off. And this is in fact selling off right now. And down here on the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, the MACD line is pulling away from the signal line to the downside. So that's a bearish indicator that is telling us that it may be time to sell. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 715 and 695. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 715, 750, 795, 815, 855, 885, 920, 940, 965, 1015, 1055, 1090, and then 1125. There is resistance above 1125, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 695, 665, 640, 610, 585, 550, 520, $5, $4.75, and then the low of $4.40. So right now at the current price, $7.04, the channels to the upside and the downside are pretty decently sized, so expect a regular amount of price action, either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks $9.65 to the upside, the channels start to open up and get wider, so expect a significant increase in price action if/when this breaks $9.65 to the upside. And this did 32 million in volume today, which is way above the average of 13 million, so very significant volume. So the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So yeah, this was an epic short squeeze, and I hope you apes took your profits, because this stuff never ends well. And if you got caught holding the bag, use this as a learning lesson for next time. So this stock will eventually have its day again during the next meme mania. Probably going to be a while, maybe a couple of months. So it's pretty difficult to tell where this is going to go in the short term, but there are a few more bearish indicators than bullish indicators. So I'm going to say this is slightly bearish. Again, we have bullish indicators in the cup and handle, quadruple gap down, and RSI. And again, we have bearish indicators in the gap up, ascending channel, head and shoulders, rejected bull flag, and MACD. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, the current price of $7.04 is a pretty good entry, definitely an above average entry here, but I do believe there is a bit more downside to go. Again, this should eventually come back up to $22.50 to fill the gap there, and from the current price of $7.04, that would be about a 220% upside potential. So massive upside potential here in the longer term, and again, this should come back down to $6.50 in the short term to fill the gap there. And from the current price of $7.04, that would be almost a 10% downside potential. So I would say going long at the current price would be a low risk, high reward play. Definitely worth a shot in my opinion. Really can't go too wrong here, but I think this is due for a bit more pullback. So if you're a bit patient here, this should pull back down to $6.50 in the short term, and that entry would be a little bit better than the current one of $7.04. And going long at $6.50 would also be a low risk, high reward play. So I can't support going long at the current price $7.04, and if it pulls back, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Although personally, I would wait for $6.50 and lower. But yeah, going long here and lower should pay off pretty big in the longer term. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. You already missed massive downside here. You should have went short anywhere from $30 to $10, and here at $7, it's a bit too late. You'd be shorting for crumbs and exposing yourself to massive upside risk. Again, this should eventually come back up to $22.50 in the longer term, which would be about a 220% upside potential. And again, this should come back down to $6.50 in the short term, which would be about a 10% downside potential. So I would say going short here at the current price, $7.04, would be a high risk, low reward play. Not really worth it in my opinion. That being said, this should come back down to $6.50. So there is a little bit money to be made here on the downside. So if you want to go short, please do that at your own risk. And it would definitely have to be for a quick scalp. Get in, get your money, get out. And again, I would cover at $6.50 where the gap is, and that should be a relatively easy 10% downside gain. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today, but this could be a good buying opportunity coming up here. Not financial advice, and good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is BBBY, Bed Bath & Beyond. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on The Smarter Gambling Show. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.